Hi everyone, this is your 11th week of online learning and we are going to continue looking at the play Macbeth by William Shakespeare. Last week you would have worked on Literacy Pro on a comic-like book where it gave you a summary and a nice account about what actually happened in the play. This week we are going to be working through Act 1 of the play Macbeth in a little bit more detail. Our essential question for today is, how do tone and mood impact the play? Our learning objective is going to be to understand the main points of Act 1, Scenes 1 to 3. During this lesson, I need you to make note of your essential question, learning objectives, etc., with red pen, as we always would, in your interactive notebook. Continue to make notes in your notes/activity section and write down the more important vocabulary in your vocab section with definitions if necessary. So in Act 1, Scene 1, please make sure you make notes of this in your interactive notebook. Act 1, Scene 1 is the start of the play. As you know, in Shakespearean plays, they work in acts, and within an act, you have scenes. As you can remember, in our narrative writing unit, we talked a lot about mood and tone, and how they impact the text in terms of how we perceive things and how we see things throughout the text. At the start of this play, we see three characters. These three characters are known as the Weird Sisters or the Witches. We already know that Macbeth is a fictional, so made up or pretend, play. At the beginning of this play, we see three sisters cackling and chattering around a cauldron or a big pot, whispering and saying rhyming couplets. The weather in this act, scene 1, is very, very stormy. There is thunder and lightning, and the three witches are visible to the audience. It's important to note the thunder and lightning because the thunder and lightning represent the tone and the mood of the beginning of the play. We know that thunder and lightning is associated with stormy weather, and that something associated with a storm is generally unruly, unrest, and causes chaos. This chaos is something to note, and it continues to unravel throughout the play. This is a very clever thing that Shakespeare does. He starts the play off with chaos and continues to unravel this chaos throughout the play. The sinister tone and the supernatural at the beginning of the play helps us expect more of this throughout the play. So as you see in our first bullet point there, you have against a background of thunder and lightning. Again, if you wanted to annotate this, you could put in mood, stormy, equals chaos, continues to unravel throughout the play. The three witches appear, or the three sisters, and they discuss their plans to meet Macbeth as he returns from the battlefield. Macbeth at this stage in the play is known as a noble, very good, very valued, very respected soldier, and he has just gone to battle with the enemy to protect King Duncan's reign. It's important to note here how everybody views Macbeth, that they think he is a hero, they think he is very respectful, they think that he is a very valuable member of their kingdom. This is important to note as it will be a massive contrast to the way everybody views Macbeth at the end of the play. The three witches at this stage start to chant and say things such as, "Fair is foul and foul is fair, hover in the fog and the filthy air." Sorry, there's a little bit of a typo there in the key quote. They chant these words, they chant these sentences, and they tell the audience of all of the things that are about to happen. So fair is foul and foul is fair. So foul means something that is not fair and that is unequal or that is bad. It is as if they speak in a bit of a riddle here. And they speak of how they are going to watch Macbeth go from this noble hero to a tragic hero towards the end of the play. Please make note of this in your interactive notebook. A very important thing for you to do now is to watch this video and to continue adding to your notes in your interactive notebook about scene one. This video will give you a better insight and a more in-depth insight into Act 1, Scene 1. Once you're finished, you can complete Task 2 for this segment of your lesson, where you must write 4 lines of your own to summarize Scene 1. In this scene, the witches speak in rhyming couplets. So this emphasizes their supernatural way. They speak in rhyme and it sounds like a spell or some form of an enchantment. So what I want you to do now is to summarize what you've learned about scene 1 in a similar enchantment. For example, you might say, 3 witches dance around a giant cauldron. They wish to make Macbeth a nobleman fallen. They speak about how he will no longer be respected and how one day when they are finished, his nobleness will be rejected. Okay, something similar to that. I don't know. It's up to you to summarize what you've learned about the first scene there. Sorry, that was just me just trying to give you some form of an example. So you just need to write 4 lines of rhyming couplets to summarize scene 1. Once you're finished, you're going to continue working on it. You have a double lesson today. And here is scene 2. So you need to make notes of this information in your interactive notebook also. So you will see there in scene 2, King Duncan meets his soldiers. So this is the king that Macbeth was fighting for. He meets his soldiers and his noblemen. So these are the people who fight for him and who would work in his kingdom. And they tell him that the rebels and the invaders who threatened his rule have been defeated. It is Macbeth who was involved with defeating these people who threatened their kingdom. The former, Thane of Cawdor, is condemned to death for his treachery. So the Thane of Cawdor is kind of like a ruler of a specific area, not a king, he'd be lower than a king. But the Thane of Cawdor is sentenced to death, and so his title is up for grabs. King Duncan, because he is so happy with Macbeth's defeat, or Macbeth's battling and his ability to protect his kingdom, decides that Macbeth should become the new Thane of Cawdor. So Duncan instructs Ross, one of his noblemen, to give Macbeth the title of Thane of Cawdor as a reward for his bravery in battle. Here we see once again Macbeth is viewed as a hero. Macbeth is viewed as respected. He has been granted a reward. He's been given the reward and the title Thane of Cawdor. And this shows us that Macbeth is on the rise in terms of being noble and respected in his community. A very, very important quotation here would be, "Fair, brave Macbeth, well he deserves that name." It's interesting because, again, important to note the contrast of how everybody views Macbeth at the beginning to how everybody views Macbeth at the end of the play. We know, again, it is a Shakespearean tragedy, so generally, if you know it's a tragedy, you know that the main character or the hero of the text generally makes a number of mistakes and ends up becoming the enemy or their own worst enemy, creating their own downfall and ending up most of the time dead by the end of the play. So again, there is a video available here for you to watch. And for today's lesson, I just need you to make sure that you have included your 4 lines for task 2 in your first lesson and that you have made notes in your interactive notebook. Once you have made these notes in your interactive notebook, it's very, very important for you to take a photograph or take a screenshot and upload it onto your Google Drive folder. At the moment, only one person has their Google Drive folder organized. It is impeccable. It is very, very important that you get this organized as soon as possible. Once you have completed all these tasks, you have 4 comprehension questions to do on Google Classroom that you must answer about Act 1, Scene 1 and Scene 2.